The night was heavy on the alien world. Strange trees rose high into the sky, their leaves glowing with cold blue light. In the shadows, the sounds of monsters echoed. Low growls, heavy footsteps, the snap of sharp teeth. In the middle of this deadly forest, a small alien girl sat alone. Her skin was pale, almost silver, and her large dark eyes were filled with tears. She was no more than 10 years old by human measure. She pressed her back against a broken wall of stone, hiding inside the ruins of some ancient building. Her little hands shook as she tried not to make a sound, but the monsters could smell her. Their growls grew louder. She could hear claws scratching on the stone, sniffing closer and closer. She pressed her hands over her mouth and prayed in her language. The night air was cold, and every second felt like an hour. Her people had left her behind when the colony was attacked. Everyone ran. Nobody looked back. She was too weak, too slow, and so she had been left to die. Her tears made small lines on her face, glowing softly under the alien moonlight. She whispered, "Please, someone, help me." The monsters roared in answer. Just when she thought her last breath would come, she heard something else. Not a growl, not a beast, but footsteps, slow, heavy, careful. From the trees, a shadow walked into the ruins. It was not one of her kind. It was taller, broader, wrapped in torn metal armor, a human. His face was half hidden under a broken helmet, but she could see one eye staring at her. His armor was burned, his clothes torn. In one hand, he carried only a broken blade, shining faintly under the moon. His other hand was bleeding, wrapped in a piece of cloth. The alien girl froze. Her people had always told her, "Humans are dangerous, humans are cruel, humans will kill you if they can." She wanted to scream, to run, but the monsters were already near. The man looked at her for a long moment. His face was tired, marked by old scars. Then he stepped forward, slow but steady. His voice was low but calm. "Stay quiet," he whispered. "I'll protect you." The girl could not believe it, a human. Protecting her? Why? The monsters screamed again, louder now. Red eyes glowed in the shadows. The man turned his head, his broken blade ready. His body was wounded, his armor broken, yet he stood tall like a wall between her and the beasts. The girl's heart raced. She wanted to ask him why he would help her, but she could not speak. The human crouched low, watching the dark corners. The growls came closer. Shadows moved between the glowing trees. When the first monster leaped out, the man struck with speed. His blade cut the air, sparks flying. The beast howled and fell back. Another one rushed in, claws reaching for the girl, but the man grabbed it with his bare hand, pushing it away with a grunt of pain. Blood ran down his arm, but he did not stop. The girl gasped. He was fighting for her. When the monsters pulled back for a moment, the man glanced at her again. His eye was cold, but also full of something she had never seen before. Something like pity. He said only one word. "Move." Her legs shook, but she stood. She followed him as he led her deeper into the ruins. His steps were slow but strong, every sound of danger answered by his broken blade. The girl whispered, "Why? Why are you helping me? My people hate humans." He did not look back. He only said, "Because I know what it feels like. To be left to die." Her breath caught. His words cut into her heart. He was like her. He knew. The growls returned, echoing closer, louder. The man's jaw tightened. He held the broken blade tighter. The girl clung to the back of his armor, afraid to let go. They walked deeper into the shadows, chased by monsters, surrounded by fear. But for the first time, the girl felt something she had lost long ago. Hope. The night was far from over. The monsters were still hunting, but now, she was not alone. The forest did not sleep. Every tree seemed alive, whispering with the cold wind. Strange lights floated in the air, glowing insects moving like stars between the branches. But none of this beauty could hide the danger. Behind them, the monsters still hunted. Their roars shook the ground. The little alien girl walked close behind the human. She could hear his heavy breathing, see the blood dripping from his arm. His armor was cracked, his steps uneven, but his body never bent. He walked like a wall of iron, refusing to fall. She whispered, her voice shaking, "They will not stop. They will eat us." The man did not answer. He kept moving, his broken blade ready in his hand. His silence scared her more than the monsters. She wanted to run, but she could not leave him. Something inside her told her he was her only chance. Finally, when the growls grew closer again, he stopped. He turned and looked at her. His one clear eye burned like fire in the moonlight. "You want to live?" he asked. The girl nodded quickly. Then stay quiet. Stay close. Do not run from me. His words were hard, but his voice was steady. For the first time, she felt safe in someone's command. They moved again, deeper into the ruins. Broken statues and fallen walls surrounded them. The girl wondered what this place once was. Maybe a city, maybe a temple. Now it was only a graveyard. The monsters followed, but they did not rush. They were waiting, watching, testing the human strength. The girl whispered again, "Why are you helping me? I'm not human. My people hate your kind." The man stopped walking. For a moment, silence filled the ruins. His back was straight, his shoulders tense. Then he spoke, "Because I know what it feels like, to be left to die." His words were sharp, but they were heavy with pain. The girl did not understand fully, but she felt the truth inside them. He had been abandoned, just like her. She wanted to ask more, but the ground shook. From the shadows, two monsters crawled forward. Their bodies were huge, their teeth glowing with slime. Their red eyes locked on the girl. She froze. Her legs refused to move. The human stepped in front of her. He raised his broken blade. His voice was low, almost calm. "Stay behind me." The first beast jumped. The man swung his blade with both hands. Sparks flew as steel cut into flesh. The monster screamed, its body crashing against the stone. The second beast rushed from the side. The man grabbed a piece of broken wall with his bloody hand and threw it with surprising strength. The stone struck the creature's head, stunning it for a moment. He moved fast, slashing down with his blade until the beast fell. The girl's eyes widened. She had never seen such courage. He was bleeding, shaking, yet he fought as if nothing could stop him. But when the monsters pulled back again, the man almost fell to one knee. He pressed his hand to his wound. His breath came fast. "You are hurt," she whispered. He shook his head. "Not yet." The girl stepped closer. She reached out, touching his broken armor with small hands. She had no medicine, no power to heal him, but she wanted him to know she cared. He looked at her, surprised by her touch. For a moment, his hard face softened. "You trust me?" he asked. She nodded. Yes, he looked away, his jaw tight. "Do not. I am not your hero." But the girl only whispered, "You saved me." Before he could answer, the forest screamed again. Dozens of growls echoed from every side. The ruins trembled under their feet. The monsters were not hunting one by one anymore. They were coming as a pack. The human stood tall, blade in hand. His body was broken, his strength almost gone, but his eye burned brighter than ever. He turned to the girl and said, "I made you a promise. I will keep it." No matter the cost, her chest tightened. She felt both fear and hope. The man's voice was hard, but his words carried weight. "If we die fighting. But if we live, remember this night." The girl swallowed, her small fists clenched. She did not understand why this human cared, why he protected her. But she believed him. The growls grew louder. Red eyes lit up the shadows. The pack was ready to strike. The human took one step forward, his broken blade raised high. And in that moment, the girl realized something powerful. She was not just following a human. She was following a warrior who refused to abandon anyone, even a small alien girl. The ruins shook as the monsters charged. The man did not move back. He roared louder than the beast, his voice shaking the air. "Come then." The night exploded with battle cries. The ruins shook with the roar of monsters. Dust fell from broken walls. Red eyes glowed in the darkness, dozens of them circling, waiting. The little alien girl pressed herself against the cold stone, her breath short, her heart racing. The human stood in front of her, broken blade raised. His armor was cracked, his body bleeding, yet his presence filled the ruins like fire. He did not run. He did not kneel. He faced the monsters with defiance. The pack charged. The ground thundered as claws scraped stone. The human moved fast, striking the first beast in the throat. His blade cut deep and black blood sprayed across the ground. Another beast jumped from the side, but he rolled, his movements sharp despite his wounds. His fist crashed into the creature's jaw, breaking it with a sickening crack. The girl covered her ears, but she could not close her eyes. She watched every movement, fear mixing with awe. This man, this stranger, fought like someone who had nothing left to lose. The monsters pulled back, circling again. They did not attack blindly now. They tested him. They wanted him to weaken. The man wiped blood from his mouth, his breath heavy. He knew what they were doing. He had seen this before. He turned his head slightly, speaking without looking at the girl. "We cannot stay here. They will come again, stronger." The girl's voice trembled. "Where can we go?" He looked toward the forest where strange blue lights glowed between the trees. Deeper, her eyes widened. But that is the cursed place. No one goes there. The man gave a small, cold smile. Then they will not expect us there. He grabbed her small hand. His grip was rough but steady. Stay close. They ran. The forest swallowed them, branches scratching, roots twisting like living snakes under their feet. The girl stumbled many times, but the man pulled her forward each time, never letting her fall. Behind them, the growls followed, echoing like thunder through the night. The air grew colder. The light of the glowing trees painted the forest in ghostly colors. The girl shivered, not from cold but from fear. She whispered, "Why do you fight for me? You don't even know my name." The man's voice was low but firm. "Names don't matter. Survival does," she frowned. "But you could have left me." He stopped for a moment. His eye met hers. In the moonlight, she saw not just strength but deep pain. "I was left once," he said quietly. "I will not do the same to you." Before she could ask more, a roar split the night. The ground shook as three massive beasts charged from the shadows. The man pushed the girl behind a fallen tree. "Stay down." He faced the monsters with only his broken blade. His muscles tensed, every part of his body ready for death. The first beast lunged. He sidestepped, driving his blade into its chest. The second came from the right, claws slashing. He blocked with his arm, the metal of his armor screeching as claws tore into it. Pain flashed in his face, but he struck back, stabbing the beast's throat. The third beast slammed into him, knocking him to the ground. His blade slipped from his hand. The monster roared, jaws wide, dripping with saliva. The girl screamed. The man's eyes burned with fury. He grabbed a sharp piece of stone from the ground and drove it into the beast's neck. Black blood poured as the creature fell lifeless. He stood, blood covering his hands, chest rising and falling with exhaustion. His blade was gone, broken in the fight, but his will did not break. The girl ran to him, tears in her eyes. "You are bleeding everywhere. You will die." He shook his head. "Not yet." Her small hands tried to press against his wounds, but the blood would not stop. She whispered, "Why do you fight like this? Why do you not give up?" He looked at her, silent for a long time. Then he said, "Because I promised." The girl stared. "Promised who?" The man's eye grew distant, filled with shadows of memory. "Someone I failed. Long ago, the forest went silent. No more growls, no more footsteps. The monsters had pulled back, for now." The girl felt her chest tighten. She did not know his past, but she could feel the weight of it. This man was not only a fighter. He was carrying pain that could never heal. He took her hand again, weaker now but still steady. "We must keep moving. They will not stop until one of us is dead." She nodded, her fear replaced by a strange new strength. She would not let him fight alone. They walked deeper into the cursed forest, the trees glowing brighter, strange whispers filling the air. The girl glanced at him. His face was pale, his steps heavy, yet his eye burned with unyielding fire. In that moment, she realized something. This was not just a human. This was a man who had already lost everything, and so he would fight until nothing could take the little he still had left. The night was far from over. The real hunt had just begun. The cursed forest seemed endless. Its glowing trees bent toward them like silent watchers. The air carried whispers as if the wind itself spoke in a forgotten tongue. The little alien girl clung to the human's hand, her small steps quick to match his longer stride. Every sound made her heart race. The monsters were quieter now, but she knew they were not gone. They were waiting, watching. The human's wounds bled slowly through his broken armor, leaving dark trails on the ground. His face was pale, his breathing heavy, yet his grip on her hand never loosened. At last, through the thick trees, they saw it, an ancient ruin rising from the earth. A temple of stone covered in vines and glowing moss. Tall pillars stood like giants, broken but proud, guarding a doorway lit by faint blue symbols. The girl stopped, her eyes wide. This place is forbidden." The man looked at her, his face hard. "Why?" She shook her head. "My people say the temple belongs to the old ones. To enter is death." The man stared at the ruins for a long moment. His one clear eye reflected the blue glow of the carvings. Then he stepped forward. "Then it is where we must go." Fear gripped her chest, but she followed. Inside, the air was cold and heavy. Dust floated like snow, untouched for centuries. The walls were covered with carvings, strange figures of humans and her kind standing side by side, fighting against great beasts. The girl gasped. She touched one of the carvings with trembling fingers. Humans and us? Together? The man's jaw tightened. He looked away as if the sight burned him. The girl turned to him, eyes wide. Is it true? Were you once our allies? He said nothing. His silence was an answer in itself. They walked deeper. The temple opened into a wide chamber. In the center stood a massive stone shaped like an altar. Symbols glowed faintly across its surface. At its base, a broken sword rested, covered in dust but still sharp at the edge. The girl stepped back, her voice low. This is a place of oath. My people said, long ago a pact was made here. The man approached the altar. His fingers brushed across the glowing symbols. For a moment his expression changed, pain, memory, and anger all in one. The girl whispered, "What does it say?" He answered softly, as if the words rose from his soul. It says, when the night is darkest and the beasts rise, humans and your kind shall fight as one. We shall never abandon each other. His hand tightened into a fist against the stone. His voice grew bitter. A promise, broken long ago. The girl's chest ached. She looked at him with new eyes. Was this why he fought for her? Because of some old vow carved in stone? Before she could ask, the ground trembled. The walls groaned as dust rained from above. The temple shook with the weight of approaching claws. The monsters had found them. The man grabbed the broken sword from the altar. Though heavy, it felt alive in his hands. The blue glow from the carvings ran across its blade, making it shine brighter. The girl gasped. It knows you. The man turned, the glowing sword in his grip. His face was pale, his body weak, but his eye blazed with fire. From the shattered doorway, shadows poured in. Dozens of red eyes glowed. The beasts roared, their hunger echoing through the chamber. The girl's knees shook. She whispered, "We cannot win. There are too many." The man stood tall before the altar, sword raised. His voice was deep and unyielding. "Then we will make them fear us," the monsters charged. Their roars shook the chamber, claws scraping against stone. The man stepped forward, swinging the glowing blade. The strike lit the darkness, cutting through the first beast in a blaze of blue light. The creature screamed as its body split, falling lifeless to the ground. The girl's eyes widened in awe. This was no broken survivor anymore. This was a warrior awakened by something ancient. But the beasts kept coming. One after another, they filled the chamber. The human fought with strength that seemed impossible, every strike of the glowing sword cutting with fury. Yet his wounds slowed him, his breath heavy, his body failing. The girl hid behind the altar, her hands pressed against her mouth. Tears filled her eyes as she watched him fight alone. She wanted to run. She wanted to live. But something inside her screamed louder than her fear. She stepped forward. "Stop," she cried to the beasts. "You cannot have him. You cannot have me." Her small voice echoed through the chamber. The monsters froze for a moment, confused. The girl placed her tiny hands on the altar, the glowing symbols flaring brighter at her touch. The human glanced back, his eyes wide with shock. The light spread across the chamber, burning the beast's eyes. They roared in rage, stumbling back. The girl's voice shook, but she shouted again. "We fight together." The man's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. His voice was rough but proud. "Then stay behind me. Always." The beasts screamed as the light grew brighter, filling the chamber with ancient power, and in that blinding glow, the secret of the ruins began to awaken. The temple glowed with strange light. Symbols on the walls burned brighter, filling the chamber with blue fire. The monsters roared in pain, their red eyes blinded by the sudden brightness. The human stood tall, the glowing sword in his hand. His broken armor clung to him, his blood dripping onto the stone floor. The little alien girl pressed her hands against the altar, her small body shaking, but her courage stronger than her fear. The beasts howled, circling again, waiting for the light to fade. The man turned his head slightly toward her. "You woke it," he said. His voice was low, rough, but not unkind. She nodded quickly, her dark eyes wide. It answered me." He gave a small, bitter smile. "Then it knows you are worth saving." Before she could reply, the beasts attacked again. Their claws scraped stone, their roars shaking the ground. The man moved forward, the glowing blade striking with fury. Each swing burned through flesh, sending monsters crashing into the walls. But for every beast he cut down, two more replaced it. His body staggered under the weight of endless battle. The girl's heart twisted as she watched. He was strong but not invincible. Every wound, every strike left him weaker. His breaths grew heavy, his steps slower. One beast slipped past him, charging straight for her. She froze in terror. The human shouted, "Down!" She dropped, covering her head. The glowing blade cut the monster in half, its body falling inches from her. She trembled, her small hands clutching the stone. He stood over her, his chest rising and falling like fire. His face was pale, his eye burning with unyielding rage. "You cannot fight them all," she cried.
"You will die!"
He did not answer at once. He wiped blood from his mouth, his jaw set. "Then I die keeping my word." Her breath caught. "Why? Why fight for me?" He turned to her, his voice deep and heavy. "Because someone once begged me to save them. And I failed. I will not fail again." Her chest ached with his words. She could see it in his eyes, the shadow of a past that haunted him. More beasts entered the chamber, their growls filling every corner. The man raised his sword again, his body trembling but his will unbroken. The girl ran to him, tears streaming down her face. She grabbed his arm. "Don't leave me. Please, I'll help you. I'll fight with you." He looked down at her, surprised. For a moment, his hard face softened. "You?" he whispered. She nodded, her small hands clenched into fists. "Yes, I won't run. Not anymore." The man stared at her, then let out a slow breath. A strange calm passed over him. "Then listen," he said. "If you fight, you never turn your back. You never give up. You stand even when death is certain. Do you understand?" Her voice was small but steady. "I do." He placed his bloody hand on her shoulder. "Then you are no longer a child. You are my shield brother now. By blood, by battle." The girl's eyes filled with tears, not of fear, but of pride. "I swear," she whispered, "I will not leave you." The man's lips curved into a faint smile. "Then stay behind me, always." The beasts roared, charging once more. The human gripped the glowing blade, the girl pressing close behind him. Together they faced the storm. The fight was brutal. Claws tore stone apart, teeth snapped inches from their faces. The man struck with fury, each swing cutting down another beast. The girl, small but fierce, grabbed broken stones from the floor and hurled them at the creatures, distracting them, giving him precious moments. Blood covered them both. Human blood. Beast blood mixed on the temple floor. At last, after what felt like hours, the monsters hesitated. Their pack was broken, their bodies littered across the chamber. The survivors growled low, then slipped back into the shadows. Silence fell. The man dropped to one knee, his sword clattering to the ground. His body shook, his face pale as death. The girl cried out, catching his arm. "No, stay with me." His breath came slow, his voice weak. "Not done yet." She pressed her hands against his wounds, tears falling on his armor. "I swore I would not leave you." "You cannot leave me either." He looked at her, his eye fading but still burning with fire. "Then swear it again," he whispered. "Swear it with blood," her heart pounded. She cut her small hand on the edge of his broken blade, pressing it to his bleeding arm. "I swear," she said, her voice shaking but firm. "I will stand with you. Always." A strange light spread from their joined hands, glowing brighter than before. The altar behind them flared with ancient fire. The temple itself seemed to breathe. The man's strength steadied, his wounds burning but closing. He opened his eye wide, staring at her with shock. "You," he whispered. "You awakened it." The girl did not understand, but she held his arm tighter. "We are together now. No more dying alone." The man rose, slow but steady, the glowing sword in his grip once again. The monster's roars echoed from the distance. They had not given up. They would return. But the girl stood beside him, her blood now bound to his. And for the first time in his broken life, the human was not alone. The temple was quiet after the storm of battle. The floor was wet with blood, the air heavy with the smell of death. The glowing symbols on the walls dimmed, fading back into silence. The human leaned on his sword, his body trembling but still standing. The little alien girl stayed close beside him, her small hand gripping his torn armor. Their blood oath bound them now, two souls tied together by survival. Outside, the forest whispered again. The monsters had pulled back, but they were not gone. Both of them knew it was only a matter of time before the hunt began again. The man's voice broke the silence. "We need shelter, a place to rest, to heal. The girl nodded, her eyes wide and tired. She was bruised and weak, but her spirit burned brighter than before. She would not leave him. They moved deeper into the ruins, their steps echoing through long, empty halls. Strange carvings followed them, watching with stone eyes. The girl wondered what secrets the temple still held, and then they heard it, a voice. Weak, shaking, calling through the darkness. "Help me." The girl froze. She grabbed the man's arm. "Did you hear that?" He raised his sword, his eye scanning the shadows. "Stay close." They followed the sound into a chamber half buried by fallen stone. In the corner, against a broken pillar, lay a woman. Her skin was pale like the girl's, her body thin and broken. Her robes were torn, her breath shallow. She lifted her head weakly when she saw them. The girl gasped. "She is one of my people." The man's face hardened. His grip on the sword tightened. He had learned long ago not to trust so easily. The woman's eyes filled with tears as she saw him. She tried to rise, but her legs failed. She fell back, reaching out with trembling hands. Her voice cracked as she cried, "Human, please do not leave me here." The girl rushed forward, but the man pulled her back with one hand. His voice was sharp. "Careful." This could be a trap, but the woman only wept. Her tears left glowing streaks down her cheeks. She pressed her hands to her chest, begging, "Here, I will give you what no white woman ever could. I will give you loyalty. I will give you everything, only save me." Her words cut the air like a blade. The girl froze, shocked. She had never heard anyone speak like that before. The man stood still, his face unreadable. But his eye betrayed something, pain, memory. The girl looked between them, confused. You know him?" she asked the woman. The woman coughed, blood on her lips. "Yes, and we all knew him. Long ago. The human who came when the war began. The one who fought for us when no one else would. The one who was betrayed." The girl's chest tightened. She looked up at the man, but he did not meet her gaze. His jaw was clenched, his hand shaking on the sword. The woman cried louder. "Please, I am nothing now. I am weak, but you are still the warrior who carries our oath. Do not let me die here." The chamber grew heavy with silence. The girl stepped closer to the man, her small hand pulling at his arm. "Is it true?" she whispered. "You knew her people before? You fought for them?" He said nothing. His silence was louder than words. The woman crawled forward, her hands scraping against the stone. She reached for his feet, her voice breaking. "You are all I have left? Take me with you, or kill me now. But do not walk away." The man's face was carved from stone, but inside the war raged. The ghosts of his past screamed in his ears. He remembered betrayal, pain, abandonment. He remembered the ones who turned away from him when he needed them most. His voice finally came, low and cold. "Why should I save you? Your kind left me to die." The woman bowed her head, her tears dripping on the floor. "Because I am not them. Because I beg you. Because without you, we are nothing." The girl looked at the woman, then at the man. Her heart ached. She could feel the weight of his past pressing down on him. She could feel the woman's despair pulling at her own soul. She whispered, "Please, do not turn into the same monster that left you. You saved me when you did not have to. Save her too." The man closed his eye, his breath heavy. His grip on the sword loosened. For a long moment the chamber was silent, but for the sound of his ragged breathing. Finally he spoke. "If I save you, you follow, you obey. You fight. You do not betray me again." The woman pressed her forehead to the floor. "Yes, I swear, by my life, by my blood." The man stepped forward, offering his hand. His face was hard, but his voice was steady. "Then rise. If you fall behind, I will not carry you. But if you stand, then you live." The woman's trembling hand reached for his. Their fingers touched, blood and dirt mixing. The girl watched, her chest full of questions, her heart full of fear. She knew the monsters would return. She knew the ruins held more secrets, but now they were three. And in the silence of the cursed temple, the past and present bound themselves together. The ruins were silent, but the silence did not last. From the forest outside came the distant roar of beasts. The pack was gathering again. The human stood near the altar, his glowing sword resting against the stone. His body trembled with exhaustion, blood dripping from wounds that refused to close fully. The little alien girl clung to his side, her eyes wide with worry. The alien woman knelt nearby, her body weak, but her gaze fixed on him with strange devotion. They were alive, for now. But the hunt was not over. The girl whispered, "They are coming back." The man nodded, his jaw tight. "They always come back." The woman looked at him, desperation in her voice. "We cannot fight them all. If we stay here, we die. There must be another way." The man's eye burned in the glow of the symbols. "There is no running. Not anymore." He turned to the girl. His voice was firm but softer than before. "You are bound to me now. You swore. Do you still stand by it?" Her small chin lifted, her voice shaking but steady. "Yes. I will never leave you." He placed his hand on her head for a moment, almost like a father. Then he looked to the alien woman. His tone hardened. "And you? Do you stand or do you crawl?" The woman pressed her bloody hand to her chest. "I stand. I swear." The man picked up his glowing sword. The blue fire along its edge pulsed like a living heart. He tightened his grip, then turned toward the shattered doorway. From the darkness beyond came red eyes. Dozens. Hundreds. The monsters roared, the sound shaking the walls of the temple. The girl pressed closer to him. Her small hands gripped his torn armor. "We will die," she whispered. The man's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. "Then let us die as warriors, not prey." The beasts charged. The ground shook as the pack stormed the ruins. Claws tore the earth, teeth snapped like knives. The man stepped forward, sword blazing. His roar shook the chamber as he met the first wave. The blade cut through flesh and bone, glowing brighter with every strike. Black blood sprayed across the stones. The girl shouted, throwing broken rocks at the beasts, her courage louder than her fear. The alien woman, though weak, grabbed a fallen spear from the ground and struck at any monster that came near. Together, the three of them fought like cornered fire. But the pack was endless. For every beast they cut down, more came. The chamber filled with the sounds of battle, of claws on stone, of screams in steel. The man's body staggered under the weight of the fight. His wounds reopened, blood soaking his armor. His breaths grew ragged, but he refused to fall. His eye burned with fury. The girl cried out as one beast leapt past him, jaws wide to swallow her whole. She closed her eyes. But the woman lunged forward, driving her spear into the creature's throat. The beast fell, dead at her feet. The girl gasped. The woman's face was pale, her body weak, but her eyes blazed with determination. "I swore," she said, her voice shaking. "And I keep my oath." The man struck again, his blade cutting down another beast. He glanced at them both, and for a moment he felt something he had not felt in years. Not betrayal, not loss, but unity. The monsters roared louder, filling every shadow. The girl screamed, "There are too many!" The man stood tall, blood covering his face, his sword glowing like fire. His voice thundered through the ruins. "Listen to me. You want to know what it means to be human?" His words cut the air, reaching both woman and child. Even the monsters seemed to hesitate. "It means we fight," he said, his voice like iron. "Even when hope is gone, even when death is certain, we fight because we refuse to kneel. We fight because we will not abandon each other." He raised the sword high. Its glow exploded, filling the temple with blinding light. The beasts shrieked, clawing at their eyes, stumbling back from the brightness. The girl and the woman shielded their faces, their hearts pounding with awe and fear. The man's voice roared above the chaos. "Together we rise." The blade came down, striking the altar. The ground shook as the symbols flared with ancient power. Blue fire erupted through the walls, rushing outward like a wave. The beasts screamed as the light consumed them. Their bodies burned, their roars fading into nothing. One by one they collapsed until silence returned to the ruins. The glow dimmed. Smoke filled the chamber. The monsters were gone. The man stood in the center, his sword still glowing faintly. His body swayed, his strength nearly gone. But he was alive. They were all alive. The girl ran to him, throwing her arms around his waist. Tears filled her eyes. "You did it! We are safe." He placed a bloody hand on her small head. His voice was weak but steady. "No, we did it." The woman staggered closer, her face pale but her eyes shining. She bowed her head to him. "The oath lives again. You have given us back our honor." The man looked at them both. His jaw was tight, his eye full of fire. But deep inside, for the first time in years, something else burned. Hope. The temple stood silent once more, but not as a tomb. As a beginning, and in that silence the human knew his fight was not over. The monsters would return. Greater dangers would rise. But now he was not alone. The girl, the woman, the bond of blood and battle, Together they would face whatever darkness waited beyond the forest. And for the first time in a long, broken life, the human believed he could win.